Okay, tonight we're going to install OpenLayers and a few other modules so we can create maps on our site. So what we have here is a basic Drupal 7 install. So let's go visit our new site, and let's immediately go over to the modules page and enable a few new modules. So down below core, we're going to need CTools, and we're going to want address field. This gives us a place to store human readable addresses. Module. The geofield module stores latitude, longitude versions of that address field. And OpenLayers, the three modules here, are the mapping module that we're going to use. Geocoder is a module that'll take address information and turn it into geofields. And GeoPHP is a library that module will use. And we'll need the libraries module to allow that to happen. And then down here, we also are going to use views and views UI to actually build up the list of pins that are going to show up on our map and then display them. So we've enabled all the required modules, and Drupal has just caught up with us. Everything looks good. So the first thing we need to do is create some content and content types that have geo-coded information in them. So I'm just going to take the basic Drupal article and I'm going to add a couple of fields to this. So the first field I'm going to add is an address field, and we'll call it address. It'd be nice if I could spell address right. And we're going to see that the address field module adds this postal address field type for us. We're going to add that to our content type. There are no fields to worry about there. We'll make that a required field, and I think just for ease of use for where we are living, we're going to make we're just going to use US addresses, and we're going to make the default country, in this case, the United States. So that's all we needed to do there. So now I have a field to put addresses in. Now we need a field to be able to take those addresses and convert them to something that OpenLayers understands. And that would be a geofield field, so we'll call it geofield. Its field type, as you can imagine, will be geofield. And then we're going to geocode from another field. So basically we're going to use that geocoder library, which will use the geoPHP library to turn human readable addresses into lat-long pairs, which is how things are displayed on maps. So now the geo field that we're going to use is address, and we're going to use the geocoder to code it up. So now I got our content type with those two fields that we want. Let's create a couple of pieces of content, the articles, and let's do, I'll give you my home address here. So here's our address field, which is auto-filled nicely for me in San Diego. And let's add a second piece of content just so we have two pins on the map. And this will be Sage, and this is where Sage is, downtown in San Diego. We'll autofill that. I love autofill. So now I have two pieces of content. If you look at the content, you can see there the geofield has these weird numbers in them. That's a latitude and longitude pair, which allows me to pinpoint anywhere on our Earth. So having done that, now I've enabled the right modules, added the address and geofield fields to our article, created a little dummy information, and now we need to move forward and create a view to display our map. So I'm just going to add a new view. And the first thing I need to do is create a view. Let's just call it map. And I want to use the article content type. And I'm just going to say unsorted to make life easy for us. And I don't want to create a page or a block yet. I just want to create an underlying master view. There it is. And I want to basically create this as a OpenLayers. Oops. Nope. I just want an unformatted list, sorry, and I want to add the geo field to it. So I'll have the title, the human readable thing, home or Sage, and I'm going to add the geo field also. I used OK, those are all good. So now this view, the master version of it, is always going to have those two fields in it. And that's all I really need at this point to set that up. And then I'm going to add on top of that master view an open layers data overlay, which basically is going to be used to display our map. So we're going to tie this overlay, this display in views is going to tie to an open layers map that we're going to use to display things. So instead of an unformatted list for this, I want to change this to an open layers data overlay. And I want it to use well-known, I forget what that is, well-known something. And it's going to use the geokey field to get that information, basically the lat longitude. And if it wants to display a title on the pin, I'm going to use the title from the article node. So in our case, home or Sage. So having done that, I basically now have to go into open layers. So let's save our view here and configure a map that we can use in this data overlay. So let's go back to structure, open layers. Here's the configuration stuff for it. I want to go over to the maps tab, and I'm going to use the we'll use the OpenStreetMap map example. There are various ones here. So I'm going to clone that. And I'll make this Doug just so we know it's the one I created. And we'll give it another machine name. And that should do it for cloning the map. So let's just save that. And then we want to set up some information about how this map was displayed. So I'm going to go to Layers and Styles. And down here are the 3 open street maps that we could use. We could allow the users to switch between them. I'm just going to let them have one map so they don't have to worry about what they're looking at. Then down here in the overlay layers, we want to enable and activate the layer we created in the view a moment ago. And just because the default pins on the map are sort of hard to see, I'm going to change my markers to red so they'll stand out really well, and it'll be easy to see them and find them. I can select other things there if I want. So let's save that. Now we've set up our layers and styles. And now I'm going to go to the behaviors and add a couple of extra behaviors. So this is how the map will behave, hopefully well. So now we're going to go down here, and the ones I want to add, I'm going to zoom to the layer. So that means when the map is displayed, the map will zoom in to show all of the pins that I want to display. Basically, in our case, 2 pins in the San Diego area, rather than the world map, and I'd have to zoom around looking for things. And we want to use that layer we created for that. And the other one is I want pop-up for features. I know it's in here. There it is. Pop-up for features, and that means I can click on the pins, they'll pop up and give me some information, and I want to do it on that same layer we created. So those are the 2 things we do in behaviors. And now that we've saved that, now we have a map that's set up and customized as we like it for use with the view we had. So let's go back to our view now and edit that. And I'm going to warn you, I might make the mistake I always forget about overrides. So as we're creating this, we want to make sure we do these as overrides so we don't mess up our open layers data overlay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a page to this view. And the page is what we're going to use to display our map. So instead of a open layers data overlay, we're going to click on the format, and we're going to make it an open layers map. And we're going to make this an override. Almost made that mistake. And we're going to use that OpenStreetMap we configured, so it'll have all the behaviors we want. And let's give it a path. So it's going to go to /map. And look at those settings again, because it doesn't seem to be, we are using our map. Ah, and there's our map. We just didn't wait long enough. And I zoomed a little with my scroll, so refresh the page and wait this time. Update the preview. And there's our map zoomed in to San Diego with my home and Sage Tree down below. So now we should, of course, save that view. And now having saved the view, I should be able to go to /map on my site. I'd probably put it in the menu. And now we have a page with our map on it. And I can, scroll around and do various things on the map. But that's how easy it is to add maps into Drupal. So you basically use the address field, geocoder, geophp, open layers, geofield, ctools, views, and libraries modules to do this. And you basically create a content type with an address field and then a geofield that is geocoded with latitude, longitude information from that address field. Create a view that's going to display those pieces of content with that geofield, and you basically set up an open layers map to display those points on a map. And it's as easy as that. And if I click on one of these pins, there's my home. If I click on home, it'll take me to my content. So that's how easy it is to add maps into Drupal.